The Star-Spangled Banner, a timeless symbol. These words evoke a profound sense of patriotism and pride for Americans. It's a song that has echoed through the ages, a testament to the enduring spirit of a nation, from battlefields to sporting events, from moments of national celebration to times of profound grief. The anthem has served as a unifying force. It reminds us of our shared history, the struggles we have overcome, and the ideals we hold dear. The Star-Spangled Banner is more than just a song. It is the soundtrack of the American story. But behind this iconic anthem lies a story of courage, resilience, and the power of hope amidst the chaos of war. The story takes us back to the tumultuous days of the War of 1812, a defining chapter in the early years of the American Republic. It is a story that centers around a young lawyer named Francis Scott Key and his experience during the bombardment of Fort McHenry in Baltimore Harbor. The War of 1812, often referred to as the Second War of Independence, was a conflict that tested the young nation's resolve. The United States, still in its infancy, found itself pitted against the mighty British Empire. At stake was American sovereignty, its hard-won independence, and its place in the world. The war was sparked by a complex web of grievances, including British interference with American shipping, impressment of American sailors into the Royal Navy, and British support for Native American tribes resisting westward expansion. The war raged on land and sea, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. The United States, still struggling to establish a strong national identity, faced an uphill battle against a more experienced and better equipped foe. Yet, despite the odds stacked against them, the American people displayed remarkable resilience and determination. The War of 1812 would prove to be a crucible from which a stronger and more united nation would emerge. In August of 1814, the war reached a turning point with the British invasion of Washington, D.C. The American capital, still under construction and ill-prepared for such an attack, fell to the British forces. President James Madison and his government were forced to flee as the enemy marched into the city. The British, seeking retribution for the American destruction of York, present-day Toronto, set fire to key government buildings, including the White House and the Capitol. The burning of Washington was a national humiliation, a stark reminder of the country's vulnerability and the very real threat posed by the British. Following their victory in Washington, the British set their sights on Baltimore, a strategic port city and a vital hub for American privateers. On September 12, 1814, the British launched a massive bombardment of Fort McHenry, the key to Baltimore's defences. For 25 hours, the fort endured a relentless barrage of rockets and bombs. The fate of Baltimore, and perhaps the outcome of the war, hung in the balance. The citizens of Baltimore, inspired by the defenders of Fort McHenry, mounted a spirited resistance, repelling British land forces and inflicting heavy casualties. The Battle of Baltimore would become a pivotal moment in the War of 1812, a symbol of American resilience and the determination to defend their newly won freedom. Among those who witnessed the bombardment of Fort McHenry was a young American lawyer named Francis Scott Key. Key, a 35-year-old Washington lawyer, had boarded a British ship under a flag of truce to negotiate the release of Dr. William Beanes, a prominent Maryland physician who had been captured by the British. The British agreed to release Beanes, but Key and his companions were detained on their ship until after the attack on Baltimore. They were forced to watch the bombardment from a safe distance, anxiously awaiting the fate of the fort in the city. Throughout the night, Key paced the deck of the British ship, his eyes fixed on the distant flashes of light illuminating the sky above Fort McHenry. Each burst of fire from the British ships, each explosion of bombs within the fort's walls, filled him with a mix of dread and hope. As the night wore on and the bombardment continued, Key's hopes began to dwindle. The relentless assault seemed to suggest that the fort had fallen. Yet as dawn approached, a sense of awe and relief washed over him. Through the smoke and haze he could see it, a large American flag still waving proudly over Fort McHenry. The sight of the flag, illuminated by the dawn's early light, stirred something deep within him. Overcome with emotion, Key reached into his pocket and pulled out a letter he had been carrying. On the back of that envelope, he began to jot down the words that would become one of the most enduring symbols of American patriotism, the Star-Spangled Banner.